Mewgenics ships with more than 1,000 abilities. The community wiki has counted the ones a cat can actually end up holding, and the total comes to 1,095, split into 712 active spells, 366 passives, and 17 basic attacks. Against that number, here is what one cat gets to keep: 4 active spell slots and 2 passive slots. Try to learn a 5th spell and the game stops you and asks which of the 4 you're throwing away. Try to learn a 3rd passive and the same prompt appears. So a build isn't really about what you find during a run, it's about what you're willing to lose when something better turns up 2 fights later. And that's the decision most players get wrong for their first several runs. Your collar does 2 jobs, and only one of them is the obvious one. It applies stat modifiers, and it decides which abilities get offered to you as post-combat rewards. That second job is the one that shapes a run. There are 172 collarless abilities available to every cat regardless of class, 108 active and 64 passive. Each class then adds a further 75 on top of that, 50 active and 25 passive, offered only to cats wearing that collar. Leave a cat collarless, and it receives no stat modifiers at all, and it's only ever offered from the shared pool. 5 classes are available from the start: Collarless, Fighter, Hunter, Mage and Tank. The rest arrive by beating an area for the first time and then talking to Butch, who hands over that area's collar. Look at the actual modifiers and the design gets clearer, because every class pays for what it gets. Fighter takes +2 strength and +1 speed and gives back 1 intelligence. Mage takes +2 intelligence and +2 charisma and pays 1 constitution and 1 strength. Tank is the blunt one, +4 constitution against -1 dexterity and -1 intelligence. Hunter is the most lopsided of the starters, +3 dexterity and +2 luck against -1 constitution and -2 speed, and on a turn-based grid losing 2 speed is a real cost rather than a rounding error. Later collars keep the same shape. Thief runs +4 speed and +1 luck for -1 strength and -1 constitution. Nothing here is free, which is why a collar that fights a cat's inherited stats quietly wastes a good bloodline. Before the first fight of an adventure, the game has already made 2 decisions on your behalf. Each cat receives 1 random active ability matching its class, drawn from a pool of 10 designated starter abilities, and 1 random class passive assigned once you move past the class selection screen. The passive isn't restricted to a small starter list the way the spell is, so it can be anything from that class pool. Collarless cats sit outside the rule entirely, and can open with any collarless spell in the game. What that means in practice is that a cat walks into its first combat with 1 active slot and 1 passive slot already filled by something you never picked. So a bad opening isn't a ruined cat, it's a cat with 3 open slots and a replacement prompt waiting for it. 2 more slots exist that vanish from the maths when people count to 4. There's a dedicated 5th bonus slot, filled only by effects that grant a bonus ability, and a cat can hold exactly 1 at a time, with new ones overriding the old contextually, rather than stacking up. Disorders get their own 2 dedicated slots, separate again. They behave like passives, they almost always carry a benefit and a penalty bundled together, and they aren't obtained from level ups, so they never compete for the passive slots you actually chose. Then there's the basic attack, which every cat has exactly 1 of at any moment. It costs no mana, it's normally once per turn, and it comes from the class rather than from you. Collarless carries 3 of them, while Monk and Tinkerer carry 2 each. Jester is the exception that explains the rule. It brings only 6 abilities of its own, 4 active and 2 passive, against the 75 that every other collar contributes, and its entire stat modifier is 1 extra level up, reroll with no penalty attached to it. What it trades that private pool for is reach, because a Jester can start with any non-collarless spell in the game. That's the same bargain the 4 slot limit has been making the whole time, just stated out loud. Access is cheap and space is the thing that costs you. 1,095 abilities exist, your cat keeps 4 actives and 2 passives, and everything else in that pile is a replacement prompt you already clicked through. So tell me in the comments, which spell do you always refuse to overwrite, whatever